Hello, loves, and welcome to your May 2022 Psychic Predictions and your Tarot Forecast. This is Venus in Retro Tarot, and my name is Brandy. So if this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm so grateful for each of you being here today. And so we are going to jump right into this. I'm going to give you a rundown of how this is going to go. So we have 3 piles here today, and rather than crystals, I put oracle cards on each of the piles. And once you select your pile, we will talk about what each one means. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to pull some tea leaf oracle cards to give you some more information about other themes that might be coming up. And we have plenty of oracle cards to go through and tarot cards. And then we're going to get into some yes, no questions. So if you have any questions, pressing questions on your mind for the month of May, we have a section for that in the reading. And we're going to pull some astro dice looking at love and money, since we are ringing in May in Taurus season. So really excited about that. So what we're going to do now is jump into picking your piles. So for pile 1, we have the theme of expectation, and there is a lioness on this card. So if you are feeling called to the lioness archetype or the theme of expectation, pile 1 might be your pile. For pile 2, we have the theme of receptivity and the praying mantis. So if that seems to be calling to your intuition, then pile 2 might be your pile. And then for pile 3, we have boundaries. Boundaries have been a big theme going through 2022. And we have the hummingbird. So if that is a theme that has been very present in your life, pile 3 might be your pile. So what I suggest you do is pause this video and take 3 deep mindful breaths to kind of sink in with your intuition. And then what we're going to do is jump into a 30-second meditation with some music. And then right after that, we will jump into your piles. So go ahead, pause this video, and when you come back to it, you will jump right into your meditation, okay? See you there. Hello, pile 1, and welcome to your reading for May 2022. This is for the pile that picked the lioness and the theme of expectation. So how I want to start is to read from the book, actually, because there's lots of information and it'll give us a good grounding for this reading. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a passage from the book. And it says, expectation can be both a blessing and a burden. It can bring you to the point of jubilant excitement, and in the same breath put you under such immense pressure that you're unable to function. The origin of expectations that are set upon you may be varied, a desire to succeed in pleasing, or your own self-expectations. Either way, the pressure to do, to be, or to achieve can be immense. Know that no matter the pressure that is put upon you, it is important that you never feel that you must continue if you find that you are experiencing negative consequences as a result of your efforts. Only proceed if it feels right and when you're comfortable. It is far more important to do what is right for your own well-being than endure the anguish from failing to meet an expectation. Be genuine in all that you do. Operate from an open heart and never doubt your intuition as it guides you towards what is right for you. Okay, so I can see a lot of Taurian themes in here of operating from an open heart and, the theme of, comfort. Only proceed if it feels right when you're comfortable. Taurus is the height of, comfort. So it says for the light attributes, the feelings are anticipation, belief, prospect, hopefulness. And in the shadow, you'll feel pressure, burden, heaviness, and stress. And my sacred words. So these are the sacred words that you want to kind of make a mantra when you're on the right track for expectation is, I fill my own bucket first, thus allowing me to help others fill theirs. And it's related to the sacral chakra. And it also says it's the responsibility of the lioness to source and provide food for her her own pride. Excuse me, getting tripped up. The lioness serves to remind you not to fall victim to the expectations of others, and in the process of looking after your pride, ensure that your own expectations are also being met. So this is a really important message, and it really seems like the theme is making sure that your cup is full before you try to care for and take care of others. Really, if you've had a theme of making sure that, you know, everybody's needs are taken care of, and then at the end of the day, kind of feeling depleted or, you know, like just too stressed out to kind of take care of your own self-care, that's kind of what this expectation card feels like for me, is that, you know, prioritizing your own self-care and your needs, and also paying attention to the feedback of what you're putting your effort into. And if it's not providing you a sense of, you know, comfort, or, you know, if it feels like, you know, it's pushing back against you and making you feel like you're out of alignment, then your expectations aren't really in alignment with your path. So that is a really big theme for you this month, pile one. And I'm just going to put this card right here. Hopefully my striker doesn't roll away. And so I've got some oracle cards before I put your tarot cards down to kind of give us more information about this. But you are like the lioness. You are the leader of your pride in the way that, you know, the lionesses do the hunting. They care for, you know, they care for their pride, even though, you know, the males are like the masculine figure with the big mane and they roar and everything, like they're the real power behind the throne, you know what I mean? So that's really what I'm getting from you, pile one, is that you are the power behind the throne. And you may not always get the recognition for the fruits of your labor. And this is your time to shine and kind of step into the spotlight and do things that bring you a sense of comfort and fulfillment. So let's see what your oracle cards have to say. Okay, and the first one is gratitude is the life force of peace. What are you thankful for? And this is card 41. Okay, and that reduces down to a 5, which corresponds with the Hierophant ruled by Taurus. So very in alignment. So yeah, and this really does, this card of expectation really does talk about what are your expectations and what are the outcomes that you're seeing from what you're pouring your efforts into. And if you're not feeling that sense of peace, this card is really asking you to add some qualities of gratitude. Is there any way that you can add simple gratitude statements? And that doesn't mean that, you know, you have to be grateful every second of your life for every single thing. Obviously, you know, we're all human and we can have moments where, you know, or more than moments, just like total days or weeks where we melt down and like we don't feel peace. But it's just asking you, Spirit is asking you to invite more peace into your life by putting more positive spin, and be grateful for maybe the small things, you know, that go well in your life. If there's a lot that feels like, you know, it's not going right in your life and you're like, ugh, why can't this align with what my expectations, you know, why isn't my reality lining up with the expectations that I have? That maybe there might be something that you're missing, is what I'm feeling, that you're maybe failing to see. And that's not a criticism at all. I find myself doing that a lot. But it's just asking maybe for you to kind of change perspective, to invite more peace in, and just say, you know, a little bit every day. Like, you know, maybe the first thing you do when you wake up is just a simple gratitude statement. Like, you know, thank you for this day. You know, thank you that I get the opportunity to try again, or get an opportunity to love myself a little harder today, especially since it's Taurus season, or, you know, the opportunity to nourish myself, you know, just really simple things that can kind of set the tone for a positive experience. And then it kind of snowballs and becomes a habit, if you know what I mean. So that's your first card, and let's see what else Spirit has for you. Okay, and you got card 38, repair. It says making amends rather than fun times reveals a relationship's true constitution. Okay, so this could go either way, and we're gonna actually pull, shake some dice up that look at relationship themes. But this could be romantic relationships. This could be, you know, platonic relationships, family relationships. We see in this card, you know, this is an older couple that is doing a project together, knitting this blanket together. So they're repairing this old heirloom together that means something to them. So it's, what this says is maybe that, there is some element of repair in relationships, maybe that have to, where someone needs to make repairs to you where they've hurt you, or you've made, errors and maybe have hurt someone else, or, both ways, because, relationships can be like that sometimes. Like, arguments can, we can sling, words that hurt, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we mean it or that we don't mean it, but, it's an opportunity to make repairs. And that is the height of maturity, especially for relationships that we value, that we show gratitude for, that we're thankful for, and that we want to keep in our lives. This is card 38, which reduces down to an 11. So there might feel like a feeling of like, well, this was unfair, because this relates to the justice card, or, this person did this, so I responded in this way. There's an element of cause and effect. And sometimes, like, it can be about owning our side of the street and, making sure that with these expectations, that we don't have false expectations that, somebody else is going to take full responsibility for something where, we also share, culpability, or, vice versa. And, maybe some gratitude statements could come in where it's like, thank you, Spirit, for the opportunity for discernment and wisdom, and humility to make repairs if that is, what needs to happen. But making amends, like living amends, is more than just apologizing. And this is too for, someone who has hurt you. The doing means more than just the saying, I'm sorry. It's easy to say you're sorry. And a lot of people who simply apologize and then keep repeating the same behaviors, it really shows that they were not sorry, if they will continue to hurt and hurt and hurt people the same way that they, have done. And with this gratitude card and card 41, any 5 is a challenge, and there could have been some real challenging energy in your relationships where maybe you were the one making repairs and constantly, trying to, make things work in relationships. This is a big theme that's been coming up in Taurus season, and really figuring out a balance, because it says, making amends rather than fun times. It's all easy and all good, to focus on the fun times in a relationship, but the making of amends, making repairs, reveals a relationship's true constitution. How are the people in your life showing up for you when they mess up? And, is it in alignment with what you need, how you want to be loved? That's something really important to consider, pile 1. So let's take a look at where you are emotionally. And you got card 34, which is curious. And I like these because they have reversals. And, this side points to insecurity, and it's in the upright, which is curious. Like, it feels like you're approaching your expectations, your relationships, and all of these themes with a sense of curiosity, with a beginner's mind, which is really interesting because it means that you're willing to take the steps you need to learn and grow. And hopefully that will show up, and be reflected to you with the people in your life, because curiosity is, I think, a really humble quality to have, right? Rather than being someone who's closed off and not willing to explore ways that you can do things differently, is something that I'm really feeling in relationships, that you're willing to kind of try things on, do things differently, and see what works and what doesn't work. So really take stock of that in your relationships, in your career, like any aspect of, your life where it feels like things might feel a little bit imbalanced, and, it's kind of taking away your peace, that needs to really be protected. Like, protect your peace. If it's not being reflected to you, then that's a really good sign that maybe that's not in alignment with you, especially if you're expecting others to put in the same amount of effort that you put into things, and into your relationships, into your work. Okay, and we got Unikite, live in the now. Okay, so along with expectations, that really does talk about like looking into the future and, you know, sometimes how that can invite in stress and when things aren't lining up and like expectations like when is this going to happen? When, you know, am I going to see this, or when can I expect for this project to really take off if you're working on that? Like when is this relationship going to really start to blossom, or when is this person going to start reciprocating the same way that I reciprocate? That this Unikite card is telling you to bring yourself back to the present moment and really feeling a sense of showing gratitude for your growth, you know, and not focusing so much on what's going on outside of you, but really focusing on what's going on within you and how much that you've grown, you know, but bringing it back to the present moment and who you are right now in the month of May. And, you know, there can be an element of looking back, you know, and reflecting on where you've come from, but still being present in the here and now and saying, you know, just like with gratitude statements, it's about mindfulness of like, what are you grateful for? What are you curious about now? You know, and with this repair, relationships aren't just with other people. Like, what ways do you need to repair the relationship with yourself? Because, you know, Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus is our values. So, you know, how is it that you're valuing your relationship with yourself? And what repairs do you need to make to yourself in ways that you might have maybe let yourself down or abandoned yourself in service to other relationships that may not have reciprocated the love that you give? And that's really important, pile one, is to really learn how to, you know, drop into, you know, recognizing the beauty within yourself. And it can be hard to love ourselves, you know, fully in everything, in the messiness and everything. So, you know, that really does take an element of mindfulness and living in the present and not necessarily looking so far into the future, like, oh, you know, when this happens, then I'll feel complete, or, you know, I'll love myself more fully when I feel more successful, when I'm a size 6, or, you know, whatever those societal pressures, you know, that we kind of end up taking on. It's just like, you know, what way in the moment can I approach myself with gratitude, with thankfulness, with peace, and curiosity about, you know, who it is that I truly am, like getting to know yourself, being intimate with yourself, seeing truly into yourself. And wow, you got live in the now. And I was talking about looking back as well and talking about how far you've come. And we got the goddess Cleo here, which is past lives, and it says reconnect with your past. So yeah, there's a little bit of dueling messages here, and I'm interested in what the tarot will have to say about that, because it's like living in the now, but reconnecting with the past is like reconnecting with your past selves. And this could be past lives, literally. It could be lives, you know, of previous cycles that you've lived within this lifetime, where it feels like, you know, you are a completely new you, and being curious, you know, about, you know, the ways that in the past, you know, you may have reacted to situations differently or treated yourself differently. You know, and the shadow side of this card is insecurity, but it's like you're meant to approach this with a sense of curiosity, of living in the present, you know, being fully present, but also reconnecting with who you were. And that could possibly be, you know, because of relationships where, you know, it kind of knocked your self-esteem, where people didn't make repairs, and, you know, at one point it could have really put you in this place where you felt insecure, where you didn't feel peaceful, where it was really hard to touch in with gratitude for life, you know, in the moment, because you felt really stuck in the past, but in a more like trying to change things that can't be changed because the past is done, is the sense that I'm getting. But it's like now what you're meant to do is live fully embodied in the present and really do some excavation and reconnect with the past, almost like doing some healing work. And that makes a lot of sense, because May 1st, April 30th is a a partial solar eclipse in Taurus. And eclipses are beginnings and endings. And sometimes when those happen, you know, it's like we're saying goodbye to a part of ourselves, you know, or a past situation in order to begin a new cycle. So looking into the past could be looking at where you were, you know, during the last Taurus, Scorpio, nodal, you know, transit, which was, I'm trying to think, like 2013, 2014, where the North Node was in Scorpio and the South Node was in Taurus. And then also looking, I believe it's like an 18-year cycle of when the North Node was in Taurus last and the South Node was in Scorpio, and just reconnecting with that past and approaching it with a sense of curiosity. You know, and then looking at who you are now and how much, you know, you have survived and grown. So really, really getting that feeling. So now that we've looked at that, let's go ahead and look at your tarot cards. And the first card that we have for you. Okay, yeah, I was right. Okay, so let me show you. We got the Three of Materials in reverse. And this is the Three of Pentacles in reverse. So this could be where you felt, you know, that there wasn't a sense of collaboration in your relationships or in your work. And it could have really made you feel like the odd one out is something that I'm really feeling like. And especially with this expectations card, you could have had expectations of the people around you in your relationships, in your everyday, right? Because the Suit of Pentacles, and which is the materials in the Muse Tarot, it really encompasses everything that we do here on earth. And it can be our connections with people that we work with, people that we live with, our friends, our communities, our social circles. And this being in the reverse really feels like, you know, wanting to really work together, especially at seeing this repair card, and just not feeling that reciprocation, like just what I was saying, like you gave a lot and you wanted to really feel part of a group. And you really, like the Three of Materials really does speak to each person having something unique and a unique skill or talent or personality, you know, kind of trait, and it really strengthening the whole, and you feeling that sense of confidence that you had something special to bring, right, Pile One? Because we all do. And the expectation that you would be well received in relationships, or, you know, in school, in your work, and be recognized for that and being appreciated for that. And it just feels like there was a piece of that was missing. And with this gratitude, feeling maybe like people weren't expressing gratitude for your gifts and talents. And in the past, that could have made you feel really insecure, you know, about your place. Like, where is the place, you know, who are the people that are for me? Where am I meant to be? So that might be something that you're really reflecting on, and a chapter that you're trying to close out, where it's like you're repairing the relationship with yourself, where maybe you judged yourself a little harshly based on the way that other people treated you, and, you know, coming to it with a sense of curiosity about, you know, like, other people's assessments of me have nothing to do with me. That's all on them. And really doing some healing around that is what I'm seeing in the month of May. Really seeing yourself as you are in the now, and, you know, based on the past, really putting those things in perspective and reevaluating, you know, the ways that you might have taken on baggage from other people based on the way that they treated you. So yeah, really reconnecting with the past, but in a way that is curious, and not shaming of yourself, but just trying to understand your experience. So the next card that we have for you, okay, here we go. We got the Ten of Voices, which is the Ten of Swords in reverse, which is, yeah, getting rid of and letting go of old stories, like from the past, that understanding that you can't change the past, where, you know, that it might have been before where you really felt like, you know, this, you couldn't escape the past, like it wasn't dead and done. It felt like those swords were continually just stabbing you, and the pain was perpetual, and like, why can't I, you know, change this? Why can't I, you know, make sense of why I was treated this way? Or, you know, why couldn't I affect things affect change differently. And, you know, the Ten of Swords is the end of a cycle. And normally when this card, you know, in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it shows a person, you know, laying on the ground with 10 swords through their back. And it's like the sun is coming up in the background. And what I can see from that is like, this person is being risen. I don't see this reversal as being stuck in the Ten of Swords, which sometimes this can really speak to, but this is really like a moving on and a, you know, a ready to be done with. But I'm going to go ahead and pull a clarifier for that just to make sure that I am on the right track, because I do feel like, you know, it's like a cycle that you're just ready to stop thinking about, ready to reconnect with your past in a sense of curiosity, but without all the pain, without feeling the connection as if it's, you know, we're visceral and happening right now. Not meaning that it won't hurt, but, you know, just kind of from a distance and with a sense of compassion for yourself, where you might have been a little bit more self-punishing and blaming in the past. See, I knew I was picking up on that. Yeah, see, Three of Swords, Ten of Wands. Yeah, you're ready to like put down this pain, this burden that you've been carrying, and the heartbreak. It's like you're really done with that, but you're kind of taking time to take stock, reconnect with the past, so that these don't feel like a burden. So it doesn't feel like these swords are constantly piercing your heart and piercing your back, because the Ten of Wands really does speak to carrying burdens that aren't yours, carrying baggage that's not yours, that, like I said, with the Three of Materials, that, you know, you might have picked up from the way that people treated you in the past, and it really, really hurt you. Here we go with another three, you know, and usually there are three swords going through a heart in this, like really feeling those swords piercing yourself and causing a lot of insecurity. But now you're just curious about, you know, the hows and the whys of why it had to be that way, or, you know, why you were treated that way, because you're understanding and recognizing your value. Seeing yourself through new eyes is something that I'm seeing. So I'm going to move these down here. And let's look at your next tarot cards. Okay, so the next tarot card we have for you. Okay. Yep. I guess I didn't need to pull those clarifiers. You got the Eight of Swords in reverse. Okay, so that is all about freeing yourself. Because in the Eight of Swords upright, it's like we're so close to a problem, you know, we're bound, but very loosely. And the swords that are surrounding the person, we can easily just maneuver our way through and walk away. We can actually use those swords as tools for ourselves, right? Swords are double-edged, and they can be used to help you or hurt you. But it's like you've learned to use your voice and not, you know, an eight is a transition. It's like you're transitioning out of this place where you feel stuck and trapped by other people defining you in your past, and you're ready to move on. So yeah, that really aligns with this Three of Swords and Ten of Wands. So now let's look at your final tarot card, and look at that, the Lovers. This is where you're headed. Healthy relationships. I was saying something about how they reflect, how you reflect, you know, what's going on outside of you, and you're going to be able to recognize so much faster, quicker. It's almost going to be instinctual, because you have healthy expectations. And, you know, if you don't feel like you have healthy expectations completely yet, it's like you're learning with this curiosity about what it feels like to not put too many expectations on other people to fulfill, you know, everything that you need. Or expectations that what people say about you is what defines you, that you can define that for yourself and what reflects outside of yourself. If you don't like what you see, you know, in your relationships, in your friendships, in any kind of one-to-one relationship, that you don't have to accept it, that you can be grateful for the experience. You can be grateful for understanding the lessons of the past, so that you don't have to spend so much time and invest so much time in people that don't invest in you, because you are valuable. So it really is connecting with and seeing your value. And that's really, really beautiful, Pile One. So this month for you is really all about reconnecting with yourself and having a whole new cycle of, you know, learning about relationships, but through what you see in yourself and how you value yourself. Like, nobody should treat you better than you treat you. Like, you know, and that should be the barometer for the rest of your relationships as well. No one should treat you worse than, you know, your most insecure voice, right? Like, if you feel that insecurity coming up and that's what's being reflected outside of yourself, then you know that that is not a reflection of what you want in your relationships. And you can be grateful for the lesson. You can say, you know, after reconnecting with these past experiences, that you can really be thankful for the challenges because they've taught you a lot about who you are and just, you know, the fortitude, you know, that you've gained. And that doesn't mean that it was easy or that you should have had to experience it, but, you know, here we are, you know, and this is life, but you've come out of the other side with a new understanding. Because look, you have 3 reversed cards and you have the best card. This is the Lover's card, which is our card of the year. Since it's 2022, 222 reduces down to a 6. The Lover's card is our card of the year. It's like you're really getting in alignment with the theme of this year of understanding, you know, what love is and only accepting the relationships that are aligned with what feels like love to you. So that is really, really beautiful. So now we have talked about love, and I am going to shake up some dice that give us some information about what themes in love might come up for you in the month of May. So we have Pluto, we have the 2nd house, and we have Cancer. Okay, so the 2nd house really corresponds with Taurus, and Cancer is our, you know, the sign of our emotions. So really valuing your emotional experiences. And, you know, Pluto is that sign of transformation, the planet of transformation. So really doing some serious underworld work to really understand your value and your value as a really sensitive, beautiful soul that, you know, maybe people didn't really value that in the past, but it's like you're recognizing how rare and how beautiful you are, and you're not accepting anything less in relationships. If people don't recognize that, Pluto can be the great destroyer. You're willing to absolutely burn it down and, you know, exit relationships quickly to preserve your peace and preserve and know your worth. So that's really beautiful. So now we're going to shake up some dice that look at your money, since money is a big theme for Taurus season as well. So let's see what we have for you, pile 1. All right, we got Venus and Taurus in the 5th house. Okay, so as far as money, you might be doing some really interesting creative projects. You know, we have Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, and Venus here. So some creations that are really, you know, Taurus stands the test of time. So you might be really fixed into a project and really willing to see it through, because Taurus, once they get their eye on something and they get fixed on something, they're going to make it happen. And it's going to be very beautiful with this Venus here. And the 5th house is the sign of the house of our creativity. It can be related to children. It can be related to, you know, how you shine in the world, right? This is the house of the sun and of Leo. So you're ready to be seen for how beautiful you are. And whatever you create is going to be really beautiful. So if there's any project that you're working on and want to bring to life with this 5th house, I really feel like it's going to reflect, you know, your inner beauty, and people are going to love it, and you're going to, you know, make some money or start a project that's going to bring money into your life that has some, you know, very creative aspect to it. Like, it's not going to be, you know, like 6th house related to routine, or, you know, 11th house where you're really connecting to your social circles. 5th house is like you're creating something that is like a passion project, but it really leads to, you know, some coins. So yeah, loving that for you. All right, pile 1. So now we're going to look at some tea leaf cards just for some predictions. Let's see. Okay, so we got wall, misunderstanding. So there might be a misunderstanding that comes up this month, you know, and that happens, especially, you know, we got a big theme around relationships, and Pluto is present, the second house is present, Cancer is present. There could be some emotions that run high. Okay, it says teapot, deep friendship with someone of the same sex. And feather, someone you know is undependable and insincere. So, you know, that could just be recognizing, you know, through the past of, you know, kind of going over the past. That doesn't necessarily mean that that is, you know, happening right now. It could be with this misunderstanding card. But like I said, with the lovers and with Pluto and Cancer in the second house, you know your worth, and you can come to things with a sense of curiosity. Let me go ahead and pull one more tea leaf card. I have 2 stacks here, so let's see. All right, we got owl, good advice from a wise person. So yeah, you might get some really key advice for a misunderstanding that happens or that happened in the past. Like you might be seeking a trusted friend or mentor or a therapist, if that is something that, you know, you go to therapy. You might be getting some wisdom, you know, relating to something that's happened in the past or that is happening right now. And it says younger man, dealings or relationship with a younger man. So that could be past or present. So those are kind of some predictions for the month of May, some themes that could come up in the present, or some things that you could be kind of excavating from the past. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 3 cards for yes or no questions. So it's going to be kind of like a mini pick-a-pile. So pick a number between 1 and 3, and I'm going to pull 3 cards and think of a question that you want to know yes or no to, and we will go ahead and look at that. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so for those of you who picked number 1, hold your question in your mind, and the answer is your magic is potent. So if it's something where you're trying to make something happen, your magic is potent, and it's up to you to believe in it, okay? Number 2, it says a block exists. So you might need to work out some blockages related to whatever question it was that you were thinking of if you picked the second card. And last but not least, number 3, it says stop ruminating. So if there is a question that's on your mind and you've really been focused on it a lot, Spirit is saying kind of let it go a little bit. You know, don't keep it so prominent in the forefront of your mind, because maybe that's causing some undue stress. And with that expectations card, you know, you might be focusing a little bit and putting a lot of expectations on yourself or on the outcome of this question that you're asking about. So a little bit of detachment might be called for. But that is all I am seeing for you, pile 1. Make sure to leave a comment letting me know what pile you picked and how it resonated for you. I want to thank you for your presence, your time, and your energy. That's truly where the magic happens. And thank you to all the collective guides and angels for these wonderful messages. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel with folks who could benefit from the messages. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Stay safe, be gentle with yourselves, and I will see you again soon. Have a wonderful month of May. Bye, pile 1. Hello, pile 2, and welcome to your reading for May 2022. So this is for the pile that chose the praying mantis and receptivity. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and read the passage out of the book so we can really get synced into what the theme of this reading is. All right. And it starts with an Indian proverb. It says, "The eyes do not see what the mind does not want." And it says, "Recurring difficulties are often indicative of deeper issues not yet dealt with. It is possible that these situations persist because you are not open to uncovering the deeper truth beneath them. It is common for your channels of receptivity to be blocked by an unwillingness to accept that a particular issue has anything to do with you at all. You may be projecting responsibility for the situation onto others in order to avoid dealing with it yourself. This may be a conscious process, or it may be something you are completely unaware of. But until you deal with it in a constructive manner, these situations, will continue to present as issues. Think about those things in your life that cause you difficulty and ask yourself whether there is a common theme, a thread of what may be the same lesson continuing to weave itself throughout the tapestry of your life. And it says light aspects are open, aware, willing, able, and the shadow aspects are closed, ignorant, unwilling, and uninterested. And your sacred words are, I am open and willing to see those things that bring difficulty. It is safe to look beyond what I am already aware of. And this has a connection to the sacral chakra. And it says the praying mantis is often seen as a symbol of stillness that calms the mind. When the mantis appears, it is asking you to make a conscious effort to quiet your inner voice in order to become more open to the things that surround you. Okay, so really allowing yourself to be still and connect to your inner high priestess is what I'm feeling. So I'm interested to see if the high priestess comes out in your reading. But yeah, just feeling maybe some intuitive blockages where it's like you're searching for an answer and maybe you're expecting a certain outcome or answer. And if you don't like the answer, you might be rejecting your intuition. That might be something that's coming up, or just feeling blocked altogether from your receptivity and maybe disconnected from your divine feminine. And that doesn't have to do with gender at all. We all have feminine receptive energy within us, but really disconnected from that and maybe not able to attract to you what it is that you want. And maybe it's because possibly you're pushing too hard and that might be blocking your receptivity. So that's just something that is kind of coming through pile 2. All right, so I'm just gonna put this right up here and let's get into your first oracle card and see what it says. Okay, so you got card 17. It says, trust your faith, dive into the unfolding journey. What is your faith asking of you? Okay, so yeah, receptivity really does have to do, I was getting that high priestess energy, and card 17 corresponds with the star card in the major arcana, which really does speak to like angelic presence and trusting the universe. So, is there something that's happened that's really shaken your faith? And that has kind of blocked you from trusting the journey that you're on. So what is your faith asking you? Is your faith asking you to kind of believe in the fact that, even though you don't have all the answers, that things will be revealed in due time, and kind of trusting in divine timing, or, that your angels and your spirit team are working and co-creating with you, even if you can't see it? Something that I'm feeling. So it's kind of like there's this disconnect from, your spirit team, and maybe having expected that things would go one way, or thinking that you received a message that things would go a certain way this year, and so far it hasn't really worked out, and you're doubting your intuition is something that I'm really getting. But it's like diving into the unfolding journey is kind of like asking you, like the Fool, to just trust the universe. And I'm hearing in my ear, like, be afraid and be scared, but do it anyway. Like, just take a leap of faith. And yeah, and that the universe really does have your back, even if you don't feel like it does. So that's a really big message that's coming through for you, pile 2. And maybe with this eclipse that's coming up on April 30th, it's right before May starts, there might be some kind of revelation, or, something that you couldn't see before. And it's like something clicks and it's like, okay, like this is what I couldn't understand. I felt like I was trying so hard to get this message, and it just wasn't time yet. Things were working in the background, and it's like now you're receiving and you're understanding why things on your path were unfolding the way that they were. It wasn't, punishing, because that's what I'm getting the feeling of. Like, you felt like the universe wasn't showing up for you, and that it kind of felt punishing. And I could be totally wrong on that. That's just something that's coming through. And it kind of shook your faith of like, I'm getting almost like a fuck it vibe. Like, what am I even doing this for? And that could just be some of you, but that is something that I'm getting. So let's see what else we have. And we got Eternal Gatekeeper. Acknowledge, assert, and protect what is right for you. Okay, so this is really understanding and asserting your power. We got another card, 32, reduces down to a 5, which is the Hierophant in the Major Arcana. So that is ruled by Taurus. And so Taurus is really, it's fixed earth, and it will protect what it wants, what is the object of its desire, right? Because Taurus is, very assertive when it comes to what it loves and what it feels like, it deserves, right? Taurus is about comfort, but it's like you are gatekeeping is a form of protection, and it's like you're protecting what you feel like is rightfully yours. And on this journey, it's like you've worked so hard, you've done the work, you've put in the work, and it's like maybe you haven't seen the fruits of your labor yet, and you're like, what the hell, but what's right for you, and you're really asserting your value. You know what your value is, and what it is that you're trying to achieve, but this feels very Martian to me, of like, assert and protect. Mars goes out and gets it, and Mars is where Taurus, Taurus is where Mars is debilitated. So, it's like a little bit of a push-pull, and maybe that's why that receptivity card is the one that came out for pile 2. Like, it's blocking your intuitive knowing, because it's like you're working so hard, and you know yourself, and you know what's right for you, and you're like, I'm going to make this happen. And in that, you're kind of putting the universe and your guides on the back burner and saying, like, I trust myself to get this done. So it could be where you need to kind of, temper that a little bit, because Venusian energy is meant to magnetize and attract things to you. And having some trust will allow you to kind of settle and let go a little bit, and allow the universe to do its thing, allow you to receive, because it feels like you're kind of choking yourself off, and you might be blocking whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, because it's right for you, right? Pile 2, it's like, I was born for this, like, this is it for me, but it's like, it's not happening fast enough for you. And then you're kind of losing faith in the whole process. So just really be aware of where you might trip yourself up by being overly assertive and overly self-protective, or protective of what it is that you're trying to manifest and make material, right? Because Taurus is fixed earth. Earth is like, I want to see it. I want to feel it. I want to touch it. I want it, to be where everyone else can see it too. Like, I did this shit, right? That's what the sense that I'm getting. But you might be blocking that a little bit with, if you're being overly assertive, to the point of aggression. It's okay to be assertive, and assert our value and our ideas and our worth. Definitely do that. But to the point where it's almost overly, aggressive, and it could be stepping on other people's toes, or stepping on your guide's toes that are trying to help you, that definitely is not going to get you what you want. And I understand that, because my Mars is in Taurus. So I feel like I'm preaching to myself as well. But if you've been feeling that way, trust me, you are not alone, because I have been in this cycle of really trying to just let go, and it is difficult, trust me. All right, let's see where you are. All right, awakening. So this feels like big eclipse energy. And let me know in the comments, where is your north node and where's your south node? What sign and what house is it in? Because if you're having your nodal return right now, like if you are a Taurus, Scorpio, north or south node, having that opposition or having that return, this could be a really big awakening time for you. And that doesn't mean if you don't have these placements that it's not your pile. But it just feels like there might be something that clicks in the month of May, where it's like, yeah, in the past you were feeling suppressed. I really love this deck because it has these reversals. But it's like, I'm feeling where this energy of suppression was really present for you at some time. And it could have been, these past few months, or even the past year, because, we have 32 here, and 2021 was a universal 5 year with the Hierophant. 5 is a challenging number. And here we have 29, which reduces down to 11, and also a 2 with the receptivity card. And that's really good. That really means that your intuition is awakening, like where you might be feeling blocked this eclipse season, this Taurus season for you, depending on where it falls in your chart, could be really opening you up and awakening a sense of trust where you don't have to feel so guarded or like, I have to do this, I have to make all this happen on my own. And it's kind of like you're blocking out spirit. Now it's like you're seeing, oh, this is what was happening and this is why it had to happen this way, or, you know, it had to take a little bit longer than what I was planning, you know, because if it had happened earlier, I might not have been ready for it. Just so many ways that this could play out, but you're kind of trusting, you know, now that you can see a little bit more. And I like that for you because it will kind of like allow this assertive energy to, tamper itself down. And you can, that doesn't mean that you don't protect what's yours, and that you don't fight for what's yours, but you can do it in a way that's more relaxed, where it doesn't feel like you're in fight or flight survival mode, where it feels like it's a life or death kind of thing, where it almost feels like, oh, okay, this is mine and it's meant for me and I will guard and protect it, but it can't be taken away from me, so I can relax is what I'm feeling, you know, and it's like you have a newfound sense of wisdom around that. So I love that for you, pile 2. And let's see. All right, we got selenite. So we're getting a lot of moon connections here. Selenite is connected to the moon, the goddess Selene, and it says clear the clutter. This could be mental clutter. This could be clutter, you know, we're in the middle of spring. Do some spring cleaning. This could be any kind of clutter, like in relationships. Like what is it that, you know, awakening really reminds me of the Judgment card and Pluto energy, where it's like you're looking at cycles and maybe you're excavating and clearing out some of that clutter in your emotional body, in your spirit body, in your chakras, you know, kind of aligning them so that you have a better connection to spirit, connection to faith. You know, we see the cycles of the moon here, like really getting in touch with your intuition. You know, this is a goddess statue. So really feeling connected to spirit again, but really needing to kind of clean some things out in order to make space for the new is something that I'm feeling with selenite and clear the clutter. But it could literally be too, like, is there a place in your environment that you really need to clear out clutter? And I am literally hearing right now, make a sacred space or redo a sacred space. And it doesn't have to be elaborate, but just a place that you go to commune with the divine, because you're getting a lot of that divine energy where spirit is really trying to come through and connect with you. But it's like they want to have a place where you can have a clear mind, right? Because sometimes when you have a lot of clutter in your environment, it can kind of block energetically what it is that the work we're trying to do. So that could be a message for some of you or all of you. Like spring is great for cleaning and kind of renewing our space, you know, in any way that is relevant to you. So let's pick our last card. Okay. Didn't I say something about this being Martian? Very Martian to me. And the goddess that's stepping forward for you, pile 2, is Aphrodite. And it says feminine power. Yes, I said something about really getting connected to your divine feminine, and I don't look at these cards. It says, I embrace my sensuality and deepen my inner love. I seek the beauty in everything. Okay, so really finding the beauty in yourself, finding the beauty in the work that you do, you know, just having a deeper connection. And with this awakening, it's almost like, you know, you are clearing out the mental clutter, the emotional clutter, you know, that fight or flight mechanism, you know, that might feel like, you know, it's really bogging down your energy, and it's kind of blocking and suppressing your ability to kind of touch in with the feminine, sensual, and, you know, that kind of power that is receptive, that attracts things to you, where you don't feel like you have to go out and get it and make it happen, that you can receive from the universe and really awaken that feminine part of yourself. So really, really seeing that. Let me see if I can get this card to lay flat. Okay, so let's look at your tarot cards and see what else they have to say. Okay, so your first card, Three of Emotions. So yeah, making connections, I can see that too. Where this Eternal Gatekeeper card is like acknowledging, asserting, and protecting what's right for you. That could have really cut off some of that feminine receptive energy where it's like you can make connections that kind of, you know, three of cups is a card of, you know, connecting with other people that love what you love. And, you know, there is an element of trust in that, of, you know, trusting in relationships where maybe you've been burned in the past and you've kind of suppressed that trusting feminine energy of, you know, being able to bring your whole self to relationships. But there's like a part of you that's kind of awakening and wanting to make those connections again and not, you know, gatekeep your heart so much is what I'm feeling. Like you can still be, you know, protective of yourself. We should all protect our hearts, but not so much where it's like you're closing yourself off to, you know, relationships, people, experiences that can really bring something new to the table for you. Because, you know, we can't grow if we're constantly, you know, in our bubble, in our vacuum. You know, experience happens in connection with community. And what I see is like really finding that place, you know, with other people. The card 17, where it says trust your faith, dive into the unfolding journey, it could really include, you know, new people, new groups. This card, you know, connects to the star in Aquarius. That's very 11th house energy, which is new groups of people. And it could be people that really love what you love and support you and kind of, you know, allow you to really sink into this Aphrodite like energy where it's like you are really loving yourself. You're able to express more love outwardly in relationships, or just be more open to receiving love. So yeah, feeling really like clearing out some emotional clutter in the month of May for you, pile 2. And let's see, oh, we got more Queen of Emotions. So this is the Queen of Cups. Yeah, this is you really embodying your you know, receptive energy where it might have felt really blocked and you're opening yourself up. You know, this Cancer energy. So, you know, I said connection to the moon. You might be really getting into some moon rituals as well. I would say really, you know, seek out some other people that you can do rituals with. That might be something that's really important to you for the month of May, like getting that started. You know, eclipse season is bringing in new experiences for you. It could be bringing in new people. Literally, your North Node, and this may not be for everybody. It obviously can't be for everybody. It might be in the 11th house of groups. Or you could have Cancer in the 11th house where it's like you're really making emotional connections to friends and groups, and it's the house of hopes and wishes. So where you have like lost your way a little bit maybe in the past of being able to trust in, you know, have faith on your path, you're really able to open up and be that receptive kind of person in the area of your hopes and wishes, in the area of friend groups and circles and causes. And, you know, opposing the 11th house is also the 5th house. So, you know, just that could be for some of you, maybe not all of you, but really stepping into allowing yourself to be seen, your emotional body to be seen, and really clearing out maybe some of that, those blockages around your heart chakra. Yeah, because you might have felt, you know, with this suppressed energy in the past, like getting some real root chakra imbalance where, you know, that's our survival instinct kicking in. You know, the root chakra all has to do with our stability and safety and, you know, our survival instinct. And, you know, awakening has really allowed you to kind of like settle into that and balance that out where you can really focus on connections and trust. Because when our root chakra is out of balance, we're in such survival mode. Like you cannot, trust is out the window, right? Everybody looks like a threat. So yeah, I can feel like there's almost like a 180 going on in the month of May for you, pile 2, where it's like you're really softening and opening up and really connecting to the heart. And even like in this card, the Three of Emotions, it's like each of these people have a, like the maiden, the mother, the crone, but the, you know, the full moon here is right on top of her heart. And it's like, you know, your heart, you're learning how to fill up your cup in the realm of relationships is something that I'm feeling. So let's take a look at your next tarot card. And we have the Five of Voices. Okay. And see, this is where I feel like you're clearing out the clutter. So there might have been experiences in the past, definitely feeling it around this suppression and eternal gatekeeper, where you've been in situations where it's like you felt like you were fighting a losing battle with people in your life, or people that you felt like you were supposed to be able to trust, and they completely took advantage of that, took your kindness for weakness, and it was like just such a headache. And it felt like maybe you just weren't able to trust. I was really getting that feeling, trust people for a while, because it's like they betrayed you or, you know, stole something from you. It could have been related to this path that you're on, and it could have really knocked your faith in spirit. Like, where were you? You know, I trusted you to protect me and you weren't there. You could have really, you know, with your own intuition, like, you know, why did my intuition fail me? I should have seen this coming, is something I'm feeling with this Five of Voices. And, you know, it might have thrown you off your path for a while. But it's like you're really clearing out that clutter. You're awakening and really understanding things that, you know, have happened on your journey, and the way that it's like it's fortified you with this eternal gatekeeper. Like, you know how to protect what's yours. But it's like you're learning the lesson of balance with this, is really what I'm feeling. It's like you can be self-protective without being closed off, you know, in the realm of, you know, the heart. But somebody, or it could be a lot of somebodies that have really done you dirty and have caused you a lot of mental anxiety, stress and headaches, and like, how can I trust people again if someone would do this to me, put me through this, and really try to suppress my voice, right? Five of Voices, this is swords, but it's like really going over and over and over that in the past, but really coming to a sense of emotional clarity after clearing out some real mental clutter and getting back to, you know, the feminine wisdom of, you know, the self, where it's like you can trust yourself, and you can trust yourself to know that your intuition is fine. You know, these things happen on our journey, and that doesn't say anything about you. It doesn't say anything about your connection to spirit, or that, you know, your guides let you down, or, you know, they put you through this for a reason, or they were just, you know, sleeping on the job. That some people really just, you know, are trash. And that's the feeling that I'm getting from this. It's like they're two-faced, and that really has more to say about them than it does about your intuition. We can't know everything, right? Even the best psychic can't know everything. And spirit can't step in at all times to protect you, you know, from things that are going to happen. Sometimes these things, like, they are just on our path. And what we can do is take the lessons and move on. And that doesn't mean everything happens for a reason, but, you know, we can really make lemonade from these lemons. It's like, if that hadn't happened, you know, I wouldn't have this nugget of wisdom that I came by. It's shitty that it had to come by this way, but, you know, I know something now about myself, about my internal fortitude, about how to assert and protect myself. And I can move forward in relationships with a sense of softness. I don't have to carry it with me in a way where I feel like, you know, I'm always looking over my shoulder. But yeah, it's like, you know, you can still trust yourself, but it, you know, there's a level of, you know, you had to go through kind of losing faith in the universe for a little bit. Like, that was just something that happened, and it's like you're awakening to your power, like, and just how powerful you are. So that's, I mean, I gotta say, it doesn't feel good, but to be on the other side of it and look back and say, I did that, you should really pat yourself on the back pile too. So let's look at your next tarot card. We got Death in reverse. So yeah, some really big transformation, some really big transformative energy. Just like I said with this awakening, how it felt like, you know, excuse me, what is the card now that I'm thinking of? I should know it. After the sun comes judgment. Sorry, I was totally blanking on that. And it's ruled by Pluto. Here we have death, and it is ruled by Scorpio. So we're getting a lot of that energy of, you know, learning the cycles and what we have to let go of in order to evolve into who we're becoming. You can understand where you've come from and move into the next cycle of your life, and understand that not everybody is meant to come with us, especially people that have put us in this Five of Swords kind of feeling. But I don't feel this death card as a resistance to change. It's, you know, it might have been at one time where it's like you were resisting the feeling of like, I can't wait to see how things are going to unfold, so I'm going to try to make this happen myself. But this coming at the end of your spread, I almost feel is like a freeing yourself. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull a clarifier to see why death is in the reverse. Why is death in reverse for pile 2? What does this have to say? Okay. Page of Cups. Okay. And Page of Cups is one that I also read as Scorpio. So it's like understanding your emotions. And I'm going to pull another one. Okay. Okay, you got two aces here. Yes, so this is the beginning of a new cycle here. It's like the Page of Cups is picking up and examining this cup and really looking at their emotions, really dropping into their emotions, like the Queen of Cups. But you got the Ace of Swords, which is clarity and discernment, and the Ace of Wands, which is, you know, that spark of inspiration. It's new fire. So this is really, you know, coming out of that death cycle and really rising like a phoenix from the ashes is what I'm feeling. And stepping into your feminine power, understanding just how powerful you are, just like what I was thinking before. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those right up there. But yeah, that death in reverse is just like a flashing like green light, go. You've made a lot of changes. And after this eclipse, it's almost like rise up, you know, awaken, come out of that coffin. You've done the dying process, and now it is time to re-emerge and be rebirthed as the person that you were always meant to be. And this is just the beginning for you, pile 2. Definitely feeling that. So now that we've pulled your tarot cards, I'm going to go ahead and pull some tea leaf cards and get some predictions about what else might be coming up for you in the month of May. And the first one we got is V, victory in some endeavor. So that's really beautiful. Look for a victory where you might have felt like something that you were trying to build was not working in your favor. Okay, we got dog barking, advice from a friend. So this might be from that 3 of emotions, that you might receive a real cool nugget of wisdom. All right, let's see what else we have. Basket, recognition, reward for merit. Okay, so that's what I was feeling, like you're being rewarded for really learning the lesson of how to kind of be patient on this journey, that not everything is going to come, you know, right away, and, you know, learning to have a little bit more faith again. Okay, so we have younger woman, dealings or relationship with a younger woman. This could also be the 3 of Cups. This could be the person who gives you advice. So, let's see. Ooh, that's too many. All right, here we go. Wishbone, a wish is granted. Okay, this is all looking great for you guys, pile 2. And we got another dog card, protection from a powerful friend. Okay, so if, you know, like in the past where this 5 of voices, if this person like tries to come back in, because I'm kind of getting the sense of that, and that might not be for all of you, that this friend, maybe she's a younger woman, maybe it's somebody else, could provide some protection where you felt like, you know, you were kind of left to deal with things on your own in the past. You won't feel like that now. Like you're gonna have some advice and that might be, some protective advice, and that might be somebody also speaking up for you, and that could be really healing as well, especially if you're used to having to fight your own battles and protect yourself. That, feels amazing, when somebody can actually show up for you and, speak to your emotions, like from a place of really understanding you. And we also got Kangaroo, unsettled times, need to plan ahead. So I was getting the feeling that things are going to start moving really fast. So you really have to buckle up and get prepared, pile 2, because it might feel a little bit unsettling where, you've been through a period where it's like, why aren't things moving? And then all of a sudden, like, things start moving, and like, you really hadn't planned for that, because it's like, you always had the feeling that something was coming, but you didn't know when. And here it comes. And May might be that month for you. That might be when things really start picking up and kicking off. And you need to start making a plan for how you're going to deal with, different aspects of a project, or, your finances, whatever, this could be for you. Or organizing how you're going to make time for different groups that you're a part of. But clearing the clutter, is really, another message about getting organized. So now what we're going to do, since it's Taurus season, we're going to shake some dice that look at your love situation and money. So first we're going to look at love for pile 2. Let's see. What do we have about love for pile 2? All right, we have the 9th house, Mercury, and Aquarius. Let me make sure that you can see that. Okay, so in the realm of love, there might be a lot of communication, and this could be like long distance communication. With Mercury, there could really be a meeting of the minds with someone, is what I'm feeling, and it could be a very spiritual connection, right? The 9th house is our spirituality, and Aquarius is, a sign that is very future forward thinking and very, out there. We have this card 17, and that's the star, corresponds with the star in Aquarius, where it's like, you guys might have some really interesting ideas that you talk about related to spirituality or faith, or maybe some projects that you want to take on related to, communication. Maybe you're going to be, really connecting around a project that deals with either social media, or meeting on social media. That's very 9th house, and Aquarius rules, Uranus is like the internet, right? So this could be an online connection where you're talking back and forth with, someone who's maybe younger than you, and it could feel like, this person really sees you with this recognition reward for merit, where in the past you really felt like you weren't seen, with this 3 of emotions, so it could be a connection with one person, it could be more than one person, but, it really enlivens you, right? This is the house of Sagittarius and big ideas. So you might be like planning for the future, planning a trip, so this might be new, or it might be a continuation of something, Mercury rules friends, where, a friendship turns into a more romantic situation. And it could be long distance, or, it could be that you travel together or plan on taking a trip. So that is something that I see in love for you, pile 2, for the month of May. Now let's look at your finances. What do the dice have to say about your finances? All right, so we got the 4th house and Scorpio and Neptune. Okay, so there might be some planning or something that really needs to be looked into. Scorpio can be going deep, like looking into something around home and family. And this could literally be your house, because it rules home. It can rule our roots, but in the month of May, what I'm thinking is like house. And Neptune kind of rules deception, and I don't want to say that someone's deceiving you around money. That could be possibly something that happens, with unsettled times here, but I'm really not getting that feeling. What I'm getting is that within your home or where you live, there might be some problem that you don't see, right? Because Neptune is kind of foggy, and it could be something that needs repair. and Scorpio is kind of like the sign that really looks deep. So you might really need to pay attention to what's going on in your house. And if you have any intuitive feelings, right, to Scorpio has those, you know, they can really see into a problem, like within the home, that, you know, to pay attention, because Neptune will kind of like, you know, there might be this push-pull between, oh, you know, I intuitively know something's going to happen or something's wrong in the house with Scorpio. And Neptune is like, oh, it'll be okay, right? Neptune is in Pisces right now. And Neptune kind of wants to gloss over it and be like, oh, you know, everything's going to be cool. It's chill. And it might not be so chill, especially, you know, I'm thinking, you know, with this eclipse season, you know, 6 months from now, like the thing that you ignore if you go the Neptune route is really going to mess you up when we get to Scorpio season, you know, now that we're in Taurus season in the opposite sign, and it might really affect your finances if, you know, this small problem that you ignore now becomes a bigger problem, that it could really put a big dent in your finances. So if there's something that, you know, is affecting the place you live, or there's like a leak, or, you know, you hear something, you know, that seems like it could lead to a problem, you know, is kind of what I'm feeling. Don't ignore it. Treat it like, you know, something that could be prevented, or, you know, that you could spend maybe $100 on now rather than $4,000 in 6 months, you know. And, you know, I don't know about the prices of home repair. I am a homeowner, but, you know, it varies depending on where you live. Those are just estimates that came to my mind. So the next thing that we're going to look at, I'm going to pull 3 yes or no oracle cards, and I want you to choose a number in your head between 1 and 3. So just in your mind, intuitively, don't think too much about it. Pick 1, 2, or 3, and then think of a question that is on your mind for the month of May, and we will look at what the cards have to say to give you an answer. Okay, so that's number 1, number 2, and number 3. Just be thinking about your question. Okay. All right. So, number 1, it's an enigma. Okay, so if you were looking for a straight answer, that is Spirit kind of letting you know that it's going to be hard to figure out this one. It might need some time, or you might need to clarify your question, or just the thing that you're asking your question around is kind of hard to figure out, and you just have to wait and see. So number 2, think of your question, and it says shed and release. Okay, and that's very connected to this death card. You are in this shed and release cycle. So continue along that path in relation to your question for those who selected card number 2. And last but not least, number 3 says trust that you already know. Okay, so just like with receptivity and all of this cups and moon energy with this selenite and leaning into your feminine power, you already know the answer, whatever it is you just asked. So tune into your divine feminine and your inner high priestess, and really maybe do some kind of meditation, whatever works for you, or divination if you're into that, or ask a trusted friend. Advice from a friend, we got that here. But trust that you already know. But if you need some outer confirmation, you might want to ask someone, okay? So that is all I'm seeing for you, pile 2. Make sure to leave a comment letting me know what pile you picked and how it resonated for you. I want to thank you for your presence, your time, and your energy. That's truly where the magic happens. Thank you to all the collective guides and angels for these wonderful messages. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel with folks who can benefit from the messages. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Stay safe, be gentle with yourselves, and I will see you again soon. Have a wonderful May. Okay, bye, pile 2. Hello, pile 3, and welcome to your reading for May 2022. This is for the pile that selected the hummingbird and the card with the theme of boundaries. So what I want to do is go ahead and read a passage from the book so we can really get a sense of what this card is trying to say to you. Okay, and it starts with a quote that says, "Have a heart soft enough to give love and mercy, but that is wise enough to know boundaries." Okay, and that quote is by Kyle Crow. And it says, while physical boundaries serve to protect from predators and ensure survival, personal boundaries are equally necessary to maintain your well-being and sense of self. Many people struggle to exercise their personal parameters, finding it hard to say no when something is asked of them. Difficulties arise when you conform to situations that are not in alignment with your highest good, resulting in a state of resentment. When you clearly define the parameters around what is acceptable, you provide measured guidelines for those around you to understand and respect your limitations. Remember that others have boundaries of their own and may infringe on your personal margins. In order to coexist, it is important to create clarity between yourself and others and communicate your boundaries. And light attributes are limitations, margin, threshold, okay to say no. And the shadow attributes are overstep, encroach, interfere, infringe. And your sacred words are, I exercise my personal boundaries with love. And this is connected to the solar plexus chakra, which is the chakra of our personal freedom. So very important. And it says, among the smallest of all bird species, the hummingbird does not hesitate to protect its territory when necessary, reminding you of the importance of exercising your own personal boundaries. Okay, so it's a very important theme for you, Pile 3, this month, is knowing that you have a right to assert your boundaries while also understanding that others do too, but really recognizing that it's okay to say no, and it's okay for other people to say no, and that, you know, whatever comes up for you around someone else asserting their boundaries is really something for you to take and kind of digest and do some work with, as well as other people. Their reactions to your boundaries have nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with their path, the journey they're on, and, you know, how they react is on them. You know, you assert your boundaries, and, you know, what they do going forward can show you whether or not this person is meant to kind of continue with you on your journey, or if you need to assert tighter boundaries. You know, there's so much information that you can get, but boundaries are so important right now, especially being that we started the year with a Venus retrograde in Capricorn. Capricorn is all about boundaries and, you know, understanding where we begin and where another person ends, and being able to really communicate that with Venus, you know, how we value ourselves in relationships, and, you know, how to assert our boundaries in relationships. So that's a big theme going through the entire year. And that's being highlighted for you too right now in the month of May. And we're starting off on April 30th with an eclipse in a lunar eclipse in Taurus with the Taurus new moon. So this is a big time of beginnings and endings. So there might be some things, some themes that come up around the beginning of the year with that Venus retrograde. You know, it made some contacts with Pluto. It synced up with Mercury retrograde during that time. So, you know, we had a rough kind of bumpy start to the beginning of the year, and, you know, you were there. I don't need to explain that to you, but there might be some of those themes that come up around this eclipse, and it would be really, really important for you to pay attention to that, Pile 3. So let's go ahead and get into your oracle cards and see what they have to say. So your first one, you got card 39, and it says, you are the truth seeker, awakening, actualizing, transcending. How can you invite more grace to guide you? Wow, that's amazing. And see, you might be seeking more truth around, you know, your own value. Like, what is it, you know, awakening to your value? I feel like, especially in this Taurus season, and 39, any card, any number that you add to 9 reduces back down to itself. So this is hangman energy, but it also reduces down to the Empress, which is ruled by Venus. Venus is our values, and Taurus is ruled by Venus. So there might be a period of, you know, kind of seeing things from a new perspective, right? We have awakening, and in hangman energy, we're allowing ourselves a period of stillness in order to kind of let things die. You know, we do a lot of the dying in hangman before we actually get to the death process in death. Death is where we kind of rise like the phoenix from the ashes, but it's like you're inviting grace to guide you. And maybe that has to do with, you know, boundaries and understanding and being able to assert your boundaries and speak your truth from a place of, you know, really awakening and understanding that you have a right to be here. You know, the Empress is, you know, the earth goddess, and, you know, she receives from the universe and from the earthly plane. It's like you're learning the truth about yourself and just how deserving of abundance that you are, you know, how deserving you are compared to the next person, where you might have been someone who was more accepting of other people's boundaries, and others might have trampled your boundaries, and you felt like, oh, okay, well, this is, you know, all I get, or this is what I deserve, you know, from a place of not really valuing yourself. But it's like you're kind of awakening and seeing, like, no, I have a right to be here. You know, it's like you can look at this card, the imagery, two ways of like dropping down or ascending. You know, it's like you've been through this process of allowing yourself to sink down into your subconscious, sink down into those emotions, kind of like in the Moon card, and surrender, like in the excuse me, I keep forgetting the name of cards, just like in the Hanged one, where it's like this person is in a pose of surrender, and then allowing yourself to arise and awaken, just like in the now I'm forgetting again, the Judgment card. I swear, y'all, I know my cards, and if you watched another pile, you'll know I could not think for the life of me of the Judgment card. It was just evading me. But, you know, in the Judgment card, we do have an awakening, and we're transcending. So it's like you're really, really doing some truth seeking, and it might be that you're getting closer to understanding, you know, your worth, and, you know, the ways that you have maybe not valued yourself, you know, like with this Venus retrograde, depending on where it was in your chart at the beginning of the year. Now that we're in this Taurus eclipse, which is more Venus energy, kind of like illuminating something, you know, an aspect of yourself that you're seeing the truth. And it allows you to kind of set yourself free from some old beliefs or old thoughts around, you know, the concept of boundaries, because boundaries are very hard, and some of the hardest boundaries that we can keep are the ones that we set for ourselves. And it kind of does start with us. You know, if we break our own boundaries, it's easier for us to allow others to break our boundaries. So that could be something that you're really starting to understand in the month of May. But let's go ahead and see your next card. And you got Spirit Self. Be who you are as you are. See, I said something about valuing yourself and understanding, you know, who you are on a fundamental level is what I'm getting from this Spirit Self, is like being fully embodied from a place of self-love. And, you know, it doesn't mean that you're fully there yet, right? This is a process. And with this eclipse, it could be, you know, with this awakening, it's the beginning of this process of really stepping into yourself and allowing yourself to show up just as you are and live from the spirit, and really channel that authenticity of yourself. And, you know, that might mean asserting some boundaries with people who may not agree with how you live your life or how you identify, if there are any changes, or, you know, you're coming out, or, you know, any kind of like new way that, you know, you might have felt like you couldn't express yourself before, and now you're like, this life is mine, and I'm going to assert boundaries around how people can and can't treat me. You know, if they're not okay with that, then they're not allowed to be in my space, because I'm allowed to protect my peace. But it's really prioritizing yourself and valuing yourself is something that I'm seeing for the month of May. Is like you're really coming into that. It's a beginning for you, almost like a rebirth. But let's go ahead and see what else we have here. Okay, and we have card 4, Encourage. Yeah, so the shadow side of this card is frustrated. And you might have been really frustrated in relationships, or frustrated about the ways that you were projecting yourself into the world in the past, because it didn't align with yourself and who you truly were, and, you know, showing up fully embodied as you were. And now, you know, with this kind of awakening and seeking the truth and seeing yourself as you are, you feel much more encouraged to live out loud, live as you are, and enforce those boundaries that make you feel safe, that make you feel encouraged to live from the spirit. That it feels like real Queen of Wands energy of like being bold and being daring and not caring what other people think, because all that matters is how you feel about yourself. And if you're feeling good about you, and that should give you really good information about how people react to you. And if they're not reacting to you positively, then that's a good sign to enforce some boundaries to protect yourself. You know, and that doesn't mean that you have to put up walls, but it does mean that, you know, it's like you're not frustrating yourself. You're not living in a cycle of frustration in your relationships. You're living from a place of, didn't I say I have a right to be here? Because we have card 4 here, and that corresponds to Emperor energy, where it's like you have Empress energy here and Emperor energy, where it's like you're open to receive, and you're also, you know, this rock and setting a real good foundation for yourself, because the Emperor is ruled by Aries. I am, and I have a right to be here. So it's like a real balancing of those energies and a real understanding of your value and your worth, and like really coming into yourself. So this feels like a real big time of integration for you, and a real sense of like encouragement, where you feel encouraged about moving forward into the next phase of your life, embracing your identity. So that's really big, pile 3. And we have Apophyllite, stay positive. Okay, so that's a message of we got encouraged, that hopefully there are people in your life that are very encouraging. And whether or not there are people that are more frustrating or want to break your boundaries and, you know, kind of infringe on your boundaries, that you can stay positive in, you know, the changes that you're making to yourself, because they're for you and it's not about anybody else. Like I said, how other people react is their problem. It's not yours. Excuse me. And yeah, so it's all about like staying in your integrity, in your happiness, in your joy, not letting people steal your joy is what I see with this stay positive card. Because you've done a lot of inner work that's now showing itself on the outside, and you should be proud of yourself. And if there's anybody that's trying to bring you into a sense of shame, or, you know, is really trying to hold you back, then that's a big sign. You know, we're in a lover's year. You know, it's ruled by the number 6, which is ruled by Venus. So it's all about value anyway. And then the Lover's card, which is the sacred mirror. If there are people in your life that are not reflecting that encouraging energy back to you and reflecting positivity back to you, then that's a good indication, if you don't feel like you can be who you are as you are, that maybe it's, you know, time to kind of distance yourself, put up boundaries, or let those relationships go. It could be any one of those things. You know, it's going to be a case-by-case basis depending on the history of the relationships. But, you know, there might be some real letting go and closing of chapters, because, you know, we're in eclipse season, and that brings, you know, endings and beginnings. So you might be really coming into some new positive relationships and letting go of the ones that really felt frustrating or like you couldn't be yourself. Let's see what other card, what goddess is stepping forward with a message for you. Oh, look at that. Sophrosyne, strength of character, said life experience is your most valuable asset. Okay, so yeah, you have been through some stuff, pile 3, and you have come by some lessons that have really taught you who you are, and you have strength of character. So if there's anybody in your life that doesn't reflect that to you, or encourage you, or make you feel safe and seen, and isn't a positive influence in your life, that's a really good indication of where you need to enforce some boundaries, and to be able to protect yourself and protect your peace, because you are beautiful as you are. And this awakening that you're experiencing, it's like the question on this first oracle card is, how can you invite more grace to guide you. It's like grace for yourself, where you may have given more grace to other people than they might have deserved in the past. It's like showing more grace to yourself, showing more kindness to yourself in what you will and won't accept. And you've experienced a lot in your life that's taught you what is acceptable and what's not acceptable. And I can see in the month of May how you'll really be starting to put that into action. And it's a process. It doesn't mean that you'll always, get it right. And, that's not always the goal. We're always learning and growing. But, it's like you're on your path now is what I'm feeling. And there's like a new sense of optimism. But carrying the lessons too, and understanding just how strong your integrity is, and staying in your integrity is going to be very important to you. But one thing that's really going to be a hallmark of knowing whether or not you're in your integrity is the whether or not you are showing up as yourself, or if you find that you're masking yourself, or that people make you feel uncomfortable and like you have to wear a mask, then that's something that you kind of want to sit with and evaluate. Very important for you, pile 3. So let's go ahead and grab your tarot cards and see what else is coming up for you. Okay, so you got the Ace of Materials, or Ace of Pentacles. Yes, so this is a new cycle. And the Ace of Materials, Pentacles are a gift from the universe. And it's really the gift of planting a seed that is going to grow and really pay dividends over your lifetime. And that doesn't mean, just like I was saying before, that it won't come with challenges. But this, the Pentacles are the slowest suit in the tarot. But when you get to that 10, when you get to that King of Pentacles, it's like you have built a legacy. And this legacy for you could really be, like, look how similar they are in their like presentation and demeanor. This person is adorned in flowers, in, beautiful, makeup that stands out in, greenery. And look at this person, holding a golden apple. It resembles a pentacle to me, and, has blue hair and just, surrounded by green, which is a color of abundance and, growth. So it's like the universe and your spirit team are really giving you the ticket, like the golden ticket to a new life, a new way of being, that really will build a legacy for you over time, that, it's like you'll leave your mark on this world with strength of character. It's like your life experience can almost be, your story can be something that is a gift as well, to the masses, that can be encouraging, like, look what I've survived, and how I, have come into my full self, and that can be really, important and inspiring. You never know who you touch with your story. So yeah, and your life experience is your most valuable asset. Your life experience is going to carry you through this, this suit of pentacles, where it's like you're getting this gift to plant the seed right now, and you're going to face challenges, just like in the Four of Pentacles, of like holding on, and Five of Pentacles, not knowing where to find support. In the Seven of Pentacles, patience, and Six of Pentacles of equal give and take. There's a lot of lessons there. But, by the time you reach that 10 and you're really harvesting something, and you're sharing it with people that really vibe with you, that resonate with you, that could be like your chosen family, or, an actual family that you, make for yourself, it's going to be so rewarding. And that's really beautiful. That's this new chapter. The next card we have is the Page of Emotions. So yeah, this to me really speaks to being able to understand, your emotions a lot better, and, to value your feelings, especially if in the past you've been made to feel bad or wrong for feeling certain things. And you see how the heart is really being highlighted here. Excuse me. That, living from where your heart is lit up is going to be a really big theme for you. Like if doing what lights you up is going to be something that, you know, when you feel encouraged, when you feel positive, you know, whatever it is that you're doing, if you're doing it from the heart space, in a state of grace, that you're going to feel very fulfilled and abundant. But you know what, with this Page of Emotions, Page of Cups, let me go ahead and pull a clarifier, make sure that I'm on the right path with that. Because it's right between encourage and spirit self. And it just feels like living truly from the heart space is going to be what kind of feeds you on your path. And we got the High Priestess to clarify. Yeah, it's like feeling very connected to your emotions, because the High Priestess is ruled by the moon, right? So really connected to your intuitive self, to your higher self, and allowing that to guide you along your journey, and really paying attention to like the root of your emotions, right? The moon is our emotions and our instinctual selves. So it's like even excavating the mysteries of, you know, things that you may not have understood about, you know, why you feel certain things or feel the way that you feel, right? Because the High Priestess is the keeper of the mysteries, and the Page of Cups, pages are the students of the tarot. But it's like really learning to understand yourself. And this could be through methods of healing. This could be going to therapy. This could be doing hypnosis. I'm not a licensed mental health professional, so you'll have to take this how it applies, but it could really be, you know, doing anything that really connects you to your emotional body. You know, there's a lot of blue in this card. So really, you know, and her hair is like this blue-green color, this teal. So being grounded in your emotional space and feeling into that, making space for your emotions, where you might have prioritized other people's feelings more than your own in the past, is something that I'm seeing. And that's something that might really click in the month of May. All right. Okay, I said something about the Hanged Man, and you got the Hanged Muse in reverse. Okay, so this to me says that you're coming out of a period where you might have felt really stuck, you know, or you were really learning about yourself, and, you know, it might have felt like, you know, I can't get out of this energy. You know, it's ruled by Neptune, but, you know, Neptune can feel very foggy. You can feel really bogged down, or like you don't understand what's happening. But there's also an element of, you know, Neptune in the Hangman, or the Hanged Muse in this deck, where we're really seeking enlightenment. And once it's in the reverse, it's like we've learned the lessons. Let's look at it in the upright. You see how the third eye, there's an eye here and a doorway into the universe. And, you know, there's a, you know, the sun rays coming out from behind these eyes, and it almost looks like pyramids. Pyramids are also related to mysteries, but, you know, it's like you're in a period of allowing yourself to kind of like sit still and understand yourself, right? As a truth seeker and getting closer to actualizing the self. It's like, okay, I've learned those lessons and I'm ready to come out of this Hanged One energy with a new outlook, you know, on myself, and really understanding myself. So let's go ahead and get a clarifier for that as well, to make sure. Why is the Hanged One in reverse? Well, it's too many. The Hanged One in reverse for pile 2. Okay, Queen of Wands. I'm trying to think. Were you guys the pile that I said something about the Queen of Wands? I feel like this was. But yeah, it's like you're coming out of it and your inner fire is lit. Like you feel bold, you feel daring, you feel like you've learned a lot about yourself and you are more fully embodied, like this spirit self card. This card is ruled by Aries, and it's usually in the regular Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It's a figure with a black cat, and, you know, it's the card I think of as like the ultimate witch of the tarot, where, you know, she's really in touch with her magic. And it's like you might have felt like in the past that you were so disconnected from yourself, like what makes me special, what makes me beautiful. But it's like now you can see yourself as you truly are, and you're feeling more positive and alive, like lit up from the inside. And that's really beautiful. And if you don't feel like that yet, it's something that's coming in the month of May. And then what do we have here? Your last card is the Seven of Voices in reverse. So that's the Seven of Swords in reverse. And how I'm seeing this card is, especially with the strength of character and life experience is your most valuable asset, is that like you have a newfound sense of wisdom, that you might have had a lot of relationships where you felt like you had to either hide aspects of yourself, like, you know, you weren't able to speak your truth. That could be something that is very Seven of Swords, like we are strategic and we hold things back. And it's not always because we're trying to be deceptive. Sometimes we're trying to be self-protective, right? Protect our hearts, because people can really be mean and cruel and hurtful. And along the same lines, it could be one, the other, or both. You could have had relationships where people really did trample your boundaries and betray you and lie to you. And, you know, you always stayed in your integrity. Like, you didn't tell any out and out lies that were meant to be malicious. You know, you might have held things back in service of protecting your heart, but there could have been people that really, you know, look at the reverse image on this card where, you know, this person is really in shadow, and these foxes, you know, their mouths are open and it's like they're ready to strike and bite. That this could have been the kind of relationships that you were in where people really did trample your boundaries, because one of the biggest boundaries in relationships, and one that should be a given, is that we should be able to trust the people that we are in relationships with, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a family member, whether it's the person that we're romantically involved in, whether it's a business partnership. You know, you should be able to expect that the person that you're working with isn't going to take you to the cleaners, right? You know, and there could have been a lot of that kind of betrayal in your past. And it's like, it taught you a lot, you know, about yourself and about the strength of your character in comparison to the ways that you stayed in your integrity and the ways other people didn't, and they let you down, and it could have been very hurtful. Yeah, so that is something else that I'm seeing for you. Okay, so those are your tarot cards. And what I feel like, let me pull something, you know, that is like an outcome for the Seven of Voices in reverse. Like, how is this Seven of Voices in reverse going to show up throughout the month of May? Just so we can get some clarification. Okay. Eight of Cups, learning when to walk away. You're going to know when to walk away from a relationship that treats you like this. That's really important. And that if there are any relationships still in your life that have, you know, made you feel betrayed or hurt, that because you're coming into yourself, and you might really be, you might really be thinking over and understanding, you know, in a bold way, but really connecting with your higher self and feeling that sense of frustration about the past. But also with this feeling encouraged to do the bold thing, to do the brave thing. And that doesn't mean that, you know, if you're stuck in a shitty relationship that, you know, if you can't walk away, you're not brave. Don't get me wrong. It's almost like, you know, stepping up and, you know, standing in your truth. And, you know, even if you're just taking the steps to transition out of these relationships that make you feel more fulfilled, it's like you're really seeking advice from your higher self and stepping into this Queen of Wands that is like, don't give a fuck energy, you know, like, I'm here for me, like, I'm gonna be here for me no matter who else is here for me, like, I got my back, and I can walk away like feeling this newfound, you know, encouragement and strength, and, you know, feeling like you value yourself and your boundaries so much more that you can, you know, ask people to either shape up or ship out, or you can move on yourself, is something that I'm feeling for the month of May. Like, it's going to feel kind of new and different to you, and maybe a little bit scary, but it's just a beginning is what I'm feeling. So let's go ahead and grab some tea leaf cards and get a little bit more information about some themes that might come up for you. Okay. We got Broken Ring, parting of the ways in either romance or business. Okay, so like I said, boundaries. You might put up some boundaries, and some people really might take offense to that or encourage, like not want that and feel like they take offense to it. And you might have to part some ways with that Eight of Cups. So, you know, or make plans to move on. And, you know, that might be a source of stress. But I feel like in you stepping into this Queen of Wands with this new sense of enlightenment, it's like you're up for the challenge. You're really up for the challenge. You know, and that doesn't mean that it won't be difficult, but you're ready to assert your boundaries. Okay, let's see what else we got. Oh, great. All right, you got the Queen of Wands and you got Tulip. Great passion. All right, so really feeling into your passion. And here we go. Diamond. It says you'll be receiving or giving a precious gift. So that's nice. You might be giving yourself a gift, you know. That's important too, like to be able to give to ourselves, especially when we feel like, you know, we haven't been valued, or, you know, we're learning how to value ourselves. But, you know, that really aligns with this Ace of Pentacles here, this Ace of Materials. And you got Mountain Road. You're on the road to success. So yeah, just stay the course, because what you're doing is working, pile 3, and just keep it up. Keep it up. You're only, you know, this is only part of the journey. You're, you know, Spirit's not done with you. Okay, and you got Chair, empty. Someone is leaving your life. Okay, and here goes that Eight of Cups. And it's probably somebody who was a liar, who was a cheater, who was, you know, stole from you, did you dirty. And all the better, like, you know, good riddance is what I feel. Because their exit from your life is a gift. It's a gift. All right, Skulls. Hidden secrets can harm you. So this is all about you living in the light. And that doesn't mean that you have to reveal everything to everyone all the time. But if there's something that you still feel like you want to say or express, or, you know, there's a part of yourself that, you know, you're still wanting to, you know, develop and show people, yeah, that means kind of like give that a little bit more time and work on it. And then you got Lily, spiritual love. Okay, and I love that with the High Priestess and Spirit Self. Okay, so that is really, really great for you. All right, so pile 3, now we're going to shake up some Astro Dice for love and money, since this is Taurus season, and those are two things that really correspond with Taurus. So let's look at love first. What's going on in the realm of love in the month of May for pile 3? Okay, so you got the Sun and Leo in the 11th house. Okay, so this really aligns with your reading. Okay, so in love, this doesn't feel necessarily like romantic love for me. Like the Sun is all about our identity, and you got Spirit Self, and you got Leo, which is where the Sun rules. Like this is your time to shine. And in the 11th house, this feels like shining in a new group, a new friend group, a new kind of, you know, friendship circle, or something that really connects you to people who are like-minded and that like the things that you like. You got the Queen of Wands here, which even though it's an Aries card, you know, the Sun is exalted in the sign of Aries, and Aries and Leo energy can be very similar, but it's like you're going to shine and really stand out in groups. You know, and that could be too that, you know, you find a group where it's like it really connects with your spirit and your soul, because the Sun is really the place of, you know, our inner fire, our personal power. And, you know, it's like, you know, you're really going to feel connected in groups. So that could be, you know, that feels more like platonic relationships, or like something connected to something that you love, but it doesn't feel like romantic love. It feels like, you know, something is exiting your life, or some relationships that correspond with groups that no longer resonate with you are exiting your life, and new things are entering that really connect to your spirit and light you up. And, you know, it's really going to light your soul on fire. So let's go ahead and look at money. All right. What themes are coming up around money for pile 3? Okay, so we got the Moon, Sagittarius, and the first house. Okay, so we got more. Okay, we have the Sun over here, and now we have the Moon connected to your money. So There might be some emotions, you know, something that's connected with, we got the first house, which is the self. You know, and Sagittarius is expansion. It's spiritual. Okay, so, you know, we got Lily, spiritual love. And the moon really is connected to our emotions. So, you know, there might be something where it's like you're spending money to show yourself some love, right? Because this is all about upping your, you know, value, you know, your value to yourself. And just like I said, you'll, with this diamond card, you'll be receiving or giving a precious gift. I see this as you spending money on yourself, and this isn't like a small amount of money, and that's going to be different for everybody depending on your budget. This is like long money. This is like giving yourself a gift. Like, I deserve this. I worked hard for this, and I'm valuable. And you even got the Ace of Pentacles here. That is a gift, you know, but you're giving it to yourself, and you're saying like, damn, you know, I am worth it, and nobody can tell me any different. So that's something that I see for you in the month of May. And with Sagittarius, it could be something that's really expansive. You know, the Sagittarius, my husband is a Sagittarius, so I know they do the most, right? So this could be something that is really like you've been wanting for a long time, and you felt like it was too expensive, or like, I can't spend all that money on myself, like, you know, but they like to go big. And this is you going big and fulfilling like a dream that you've wanted, you know, for yourself, like a big ticket item, you know, that you felt like you just couldn't factor in for yourself. So really consider that, pile 3. You deserve it. So the next thing that we're going to do is I want you to think of a question with a yes, no answer, or just something that you want a yes or no, or maybe an open-ended question too. But I am going to pull 3 cards. So think of a number 1 through 3, and I'm going to pull 3 cards, and it will answer your question depending on which card that you pick. Okay, so card 1. That's card 1. That's card 2. And we have card 3. All right, so you got your question. Here it goes. Card 1 is cut through to find clarity. Okay, so this might be something that, you know, you have been kind of going over a little bit, and there's like a lot of pieces to it, and you might need to kind of break it down into small pieces to find the clarity that you're looking for. So if you chose card 1, that is your answer to your question. All right, now card number 2, let's see what it says. Oh, reinforcing that message, put up strong boundaries. So if this is around a person, or, you know, just something where, yeah, you're still trying to work out that whole boundary situation, this is Spirit reinforcing that message, put up strong boundaries, that you are worth it, that, yeah, your boundaries deserve to be honored. And this is card 3. It says, step back and reevaluate. Okay, so if you're asking about something that you want or that you don't want, or, you know, it's something that you're confused about, it might be that you're too close to the situation and you need to take a step back or take a break or something like that, and then revisit it at a later date. It just, you know, now might not be the time. All right. And that's all I'm seeing for you, pile 3. Make sure to leave a comment letting me know what pile you picked and how it resonated for you. I want to thank you for your presence, your time, and your energy. That's truly where the magic happens. And thank you to all the collective guides and angels for these wonderful messages. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel with folks who could benefit from the messages. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Stay safe, be gentle with yourselves, and I will see you again soon. Have a wonderful May. Bye, pile 3.